Welcome back. Just breaking in the past couple of minutes, President Biden's attorneys late tonight acknowledged that several classified documents from his time as VP under the Obama administration were discovered late last fall in a private office. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. They were discovered before the midterm elections, but we're just figuring out about it now. The documents were not found in a secure facility or at the National Archives or in a safe or anywhere else, but at the Penn Biden Center for Global Diplomacy for conceivably anybody to see. With us, we bring in now Max Burns, former Democratic staffer on the Hill. Max, I feel as though it's like deja vu all over again of classified documents found, at Vice President's former place, President's former place. Why should this be any different than Mar-a-Lago?
Well, I think this is a great example of how there's a right way and a wrong way to handle classified documents in places they shouldn't be. You have the Biden team's approach, which was they found these documents, immediately notified the National Archives and the DOJ, made sure they were returned, and are now cooperating to make sure that there's nothing else there that shouldn't be. Or you have the Trump approach, which is to stonewall the archives for a year, lie under oath several times to federal officials about what you've turned over, and then just claim that they're your documents and no one can take them from you. There is a clear difference here.
Well, look, I appreciate it, but that's what happened after you took the classified documents. And Democrats, respectfully, may not have much leg of a leg to stand on after Hillary Clinton's email server here, right?
Well, I think what we're seeing now is that the DOJ is launching an investigation. There's no sign that anyone is trying to obstruct this. There's also very clearly no sign that the vice president had any idea those documents were there, unlike in Donald Trump's case, where in some cases he was packing his desk and put classified documents in boxes himself to take to his personal home. These are completely different kinds of scenarios. And the idea that they're at all similar is bizarre to me.
Yeah, well, you make some excellent points. And to be fair, Merrick Garland appointed somebody to look into this, U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, who was nominated by President Trump to be the prosecutor to look into this. And there's a federal prosecutor looking into the classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, obviously. But do you get into a situation where it becomes impossible to charge President Trump and not charge somebody as it relates to these classified documents at the Penn Biden Center?
No, not at all, because at the end of the day, President Biden's team followed the law. They found documents that shouldn't be where they were.
No, hold on, Max. I was with you for a while here, but that doesn't have the holding of classified documents doesn't have to do with what happens when you find them. It happens to do with when you take them.
Yeah, I agree. And the difference is no one in this situation is trying to obstruct an investigation. By every measure, the White House,
right, but these are two different things.
Team is cooperating completely with that investigation.
Taking the documents is the crime, not simply possessing them. There's a separate crime in taking them when you weren't supposed to.
Yes, and what I'm saying is we will find out how those documents got there, in large part because the White House and those attorneys have pledged complete cooperation in figuring this out. Unlike with President Trump,
fair enough.
We declared that no one has any right to even ask the question of how those documents got there.
Pledging complete cooperation, though, and telling the truth are two very different things. We can agree.
Yeah, you're sort of washing over this as if President Biden instructed these documents be moved there.
I have no idea.
When, as has been said in this investigation already, there is no sign that President Biden knew that. That is
that's been said by the White
difference
House
from what we have with President Trump. Who has not only said that he knew, he said that they're his, and the government has no right to them. These are completely different situations.
Fair point. It's why we had you here. It's a good conversation. Max, thank you as always. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.